Blessing, Landmark University, second position. We also have the third position, Onu Chisom, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka.
It's my singular honor and privilege to present this certificate of achievement to Adeni Daniel as the first place winner in the National Engineering Project, single category. Congratulations. It's a tie. Well, it's a tie. This certificate of achievement presented to Ati Josiah as also the first place winner in the National Engineering Project, single category. Congratulations. Certificate of achievement presented to Oluwayo Blessing Adenike as the second place winner in the National Engineering Project, single category. Congratulations. Okay. Thank you. Certificate of achievement presented to Onu Chisom Favor as the third place winner in the National Engineering Project, single category. Congratulations. Don't shake hands. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. For the group category, I'd like to invite the past registrar of Coren, His Excellency Engineer Felix Atume, MNI.
The winners are, well, I'll just call the first person and then the person will come with his group or her group. Adegbemi F. from Covenant University, Ota. Second position, there's a tie there also. Oloyele Sunday from Frey University, Oye. Oye Ekiti. Another second position, Nwankwo Chukwunonso from Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka. And third position, Ikejiani Chioma from Nnamdi Azikiwe University and the group.
That's questionable. Your Excellency. First place winner. Where did you do it? On Saturday? Why did they not come?
Mr. President, let me commend Coren for this wonderful innovation. When we have the opportunity to encourage the younger ones, we are building sustainable engineering practice. So, Mr. President, let me congratulate you first for this wonderful achievement. CODET, Committee of Deans of Engineering and Technology of Nigerian Universities, CODET, Certificate of Achievement presented to Adegbemi Adeoti Ambo Iyenguwana o Iyoladi Sulola J as the first place winner in the National Engineering Project Group category, 7th August 2021. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm happy there's a lady among you. Wonderful. So who gets the certificate? You?
This man together. It's a group.
Thanks, sir.
I think that's all.
No.
The second one.
Second.
The second place winner goes to Oluyele Sunday Anthony and Ibinaya Abiola Daniel, the second place winner. Congratulations, wonderful achievement. Yeah, so let's put it like this. It's a tie?
Yes.
Oh, there is another group, second place winner. Nwanko, Mama, Favor, Nwezi, Chidera, Deida, and Nwana. Very good. This is a wonderful combination. Let me give to the lady. Congratulations. Yes. Yeah, the third place winner goes to Ikejiana Chioma.
No, you didn't waste time.
Ikechia Maka Ebenezer. Yes, wonderful. You to the lady again. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. The Director of Programs.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Very quickly, we'll also be calling up Committee of Deans of Engineering of Polytechnics and Colleges of Education, Compodet, for their presentation. So I'll call up the Chairman of Compodet, Engineer Dr. Abubakar Jumare, MNSC, for the presentation.
The President of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Engineer Ali A. Rabiu, FNSC, the Vice President of Coren, the Coren Registrar, past President of Coren, past Registrars, President of NSC, past President of NSC, all other protocols duly observed. The Committee of Deans of Engineering of Polytechnics and Colleges of Education is a sister subcommittee to CODET. Our own, we take care of the Polytechnic students. So we started our Best Engineering Student Project competition in 2019. So this is our second edition. We had the finals for the national yesterday, actually. So may I equally call on the President of Coren to give these young men and a lady a presidential handshake to motivate them further. So we... So may I call on I will start from the bottom, that is the third position. May I call on Ms. Mohamed Aisha Sani from Nubamali Polytechnic, Zaria. She presented a project titled Construction of Pipeline Leakage Detection System using ESP8266 and TeamSpeak. She came third in the competition. Yes. Then the second position goes to Mr. Ibeto Tochiko Michael from Imo State Polytechnic, Umuagu. The title of his project actually was Evaluation of Sugar Content in Selected Soft Drink. Mr. Tochiko. Then the first position goes to Mr. Shedrack Daniel with his project title Design and Construction of Electromechanical Door Lock System using Bluetooth and Immediate Password. Yes, sir.
Well, Compodet says the certificates are not ready, but we'll appreciate them with a handshake. And I know that Engineer Professor Ajav would like to do the handshake. So I invite the past Vice President of Coren to come and provide this handshake, please. Say something.
Well, congratulations and glory be to God for this wonderful thing you've done. I'm so glad that this issue is going on and on. I started the competition when I was the chairman of CODED to show what Nigerian students can do. So congratulations to all of you, and I wish you the best as you grow in your academic activity.
Amen.
Shake them.
Thank you, sir.
Madam, can I shake you? Congratulations. Young man, congratulations. Congratulations. So next, when you are coming to a place like this, dress properly.
Yeah, student.
If you don't dress corporately, I won't give you handshake next time.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Well, the registrar has promised that their certificates will be ready in the next 1 hour. So in the course of this forum, the family forum, we'll invite them again for the proper presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my president. Thank you all.
Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava in the world, contributing 20% to all global production. Cassava is a critical staple food and can be processed into several foods such as garri and fufu. Garri is produced on a commercial basis both for local consumption and export. Most cassava processing is done in rural agro-processing communities, and the processing activities give rise to vast quantities of cassava peels as a waste product. Due to large amounts of waste generated and the far-off distance of some of these communities, most of these waste peels are either burnt or left to decompose with environmental implications. Furthermore, firewood is used as the primary heating source during the processing of cassava. The combustion of firewood releases health-impairing pollutants like carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, smoke, and other particulate matter. Thermochemical and biochemical processes can be applied to transform organic waste into useful energy forms. The technologies available include gasification, anaerobic digestion, and pyrolysis. Anaerobic digestion leads to the generation of biogas, a gas mainly composed of methane and carbon dioxide. Anaerobic digestion was adopted in this process as it generates two main products, energy-rich biogas and a nutritious digestate. Pilot reactors have been built in order to access the productivity and reliability of a biogas plant. These have helped identify factors critical to the anaerobic digestion process such as internal temperature, agitation, and pH. This has also served as a learning opportunity for the community scale plant. Let us now walk you through our work in more details.
Thank you very much. Very quickly, we'll be moving on to the next presentation, which is the presentation of the APP developed for the dissemination of the first and second infrastructure reports and deployment for the development of future reports. That will be anchored by the NSC Engineering Indices and Infrastructure Reports Committee.
Thank you very much, MC. Mr. President, President of Coren, NSC President is not here yet in absentia. I am doing this on behalf of the NSC President and NSC Council and members. Coren Council members here present. President of professional bodies in Coren, Naiset, Nate, Naek, and Vice President, my colleagues, I want to thank the President of Coren for this opportunity. Yesterday we had 10 minutes. I will still work on the 10 minutes, but Mr. President might be gracious to add for Q&A. I won't take the vote, I will work on the 10 minutes. The app is to now put the first and second editions of the professional report card in the global domain. So that, like any app, you go to the App Store, you go to the Google Store, you can get it there. As to whether it's going to be free for how long, I don't know. The NSC Council will decide that. I have a very strong team. We won't go into that now. The main issue is the app. But for the benefit of those who are probably listening to us for the first time, NSC set up a group in 2014 to develop Nigeria's maiden infrastructure report. This started, probably as you will expect, from the US in 1988, and a lot of countries have done that. Now, can we have the first slide? I'm just going to take 2 minutes, maximum 3 minutes, and Engineer Kenneth Onrasoye, the CEO of Brand Sally, the company that we did this together, but he's also a member of our committee. He became a member when we found him out. He's a member of NSC. We'll do the core job. So that will be the, oh sorry, I thought I was seeing. You can project it before it comes on. Philip. Oh yeah. So that's the title page. The next one. The next slide, please.
On the next slide. I'm on the next slide.
Oh good. That's Ken. That's nice. So that's the roadmap to the presentation. Let's go to the next one. The next slide, please. Okay, the next
It's on the next slide.
Thank you. So, what is an infrastructure report card? Most of us will know. Yeah. They are reports and commentary that give the general condition of a nation's economic and social infrastructure, mostly public. They're usually produced by National Institute of Engineering, like Society of Engineers. That of America was produced by American Society of Civil Engineers, and then Canada, UK, and what have you. The leading country in Africa is South Africa, and they were produced by SAICI. SAICI is South African Institute of Civil Engineers, and one notable person there is Engineer Dr. Van Vlein, the tall South African gentleman, the past president of SAICI and the past president of FAO before our own engineer, Balarabe Shehu. He's also the coordinator of the African report. We're also having an African report for 8 countries, of which I am representing NSC. That's another story. So it's that kind of report looks at the availability, the quality, the extent, and the state of infrastructure in the country, i.e. Nigeria. The whole essence is to say, where are we? What do we need to do to get where we're going to? Let us point out clearly that it is not an assessment to apportion blame. Please go ahead. The next slide, please, quickly. Yeah. What are the purposes? Long list. It provides, as we said, a comprehensive assessment of current infrastructure, the condition, and the needs. And these are done by assigning grades, the usual A to F with some modification. It grades the state of built infrastructure in all sectors and states. But very germane, it provides policymakers an empirical guide in making choices and investment decisions with respect to infrastructure development, to accelerate economic development, and to assist to give meaning in relation to the National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan for our own case. So it's going to provide our policymakers a veritable empirical evidence. The report will enable government leaders to inspect their project portfolios critically and decide which ones to accelerate first based on their strategic importance, independent of the political cycle. I think that is clear. Once you have that kind of report, you give our leaders the idea of what are the critical parts. If you put this amount of money into this, what do we get? It also encourages benchmarking and competition among the different levels of government, local government, states, Lagos, Ogun, Lagos, Zamfara, and the rest of them. It allows government at all levels to be able to partner with the private sector. Because it gives the private sector a picture of what is going on, and that's what they can trust. I'm sure that will help further on this tax credit, the one that Dangote is doing a lot with the federal government as one of the strategies to fund infrastructure. This kind of detailed report put together by all of us will provide convincing evidence. Needless to say that Nigerians need to develop a holistic and long-term strategy for operating and maintaining our physical assets. And the last two, it says it drive efficient allocation of resources. That's very important for the renewal and continued development of our stock of infrastructure. I did mention that it started from the US in 1988, and these are the list of some of the countries that have done several reports. Again, like I said, South Africa is the leading one. Nigeria is probably second. We are second. We joined the league in 2015 when we developed the first edition. The next slide. No, you're going back. The next slide. Yeah, thank you very much. Nigeria joined the league of countries producing reports through their engineering institutions, and in this case, NSC, in 2015. That is the copy of the 2015 report. I believe a good number of us has the hard copy. It was launched in Korea and we're giving it out. But the soft copies are available and will be sent out. The second one came in 2017. That's it. We also have the soft copy. The third one was supposed to come in 2019, but that unfortunately did not happen. We chose to do it biannually, once in 2 years. In other climes, it's once in 4 years. Places like America, Canada, and UK, you can understand why that is good for them. For us, we believe 2 years is okay to be able to monitor the progressive improvement or otherwise. I will now have the pleasure, So what we've done now, working with Bransally, whose CTO, Chief Technical Officer, will present the app now, is the fact that we've now put the app in the reports in app form to be accessible to others. Then we are working on the fact that the fourth edition will be such that it will be real time. The app will have gone to a tool to do that. Ken, you can take over from here. Mr. President, may I have your attention and your permission to give the presenter 5 minutes. Ken, over to you. Because you are not listening, Mr. President. Ken.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, good afternoon. I'm having some feedback. Let me sort that out. Hello? Can you hear me? Am I clear? Hello?
Yes, you are clear.
All right. Good afternoon to the existing protocol. I am Kenneth, and I've been contracted to produce the app for the dissemination of the Nigerian infrastructure report card. And what we have done, I will be presenting it here today. The app can be found at the Google Play Store and on the Androids. And this is the home page of the app. It has the About page that tells us more about what the app is about. And it links to the 2015 edition of the infrastructure reports, and a link to the 2017 reports. So it can be viewed there, and also you can also download it there. I'm struggling with the internet at the moment. That's all right. Okay. Am I still clear? Hello?
Yeah, you're clear.
Can you hear me? All right, thank you. All right, okay. So that's the app. It's very simple and straightforward, and then we have further extensions to the app. One of the things that we are planning to do is to create a system where we can get public submission of infrastructure from the public, and so what that will allow us to do is to collect data from the public, and there's a form we have created there, and it's geolocation. It has geolocation, so you can just pinpoint your exact location. That's where I am at the moment, and you can upload infrastructure within that location within a radius of about 5 meters, or probably even less. It's going to get less. So what that would allow us to be able to do is to collect data almost in real time across the country and across different sectors of infrastructure, from public infrastructure and even infrastructure that have been provided by the private sector. And what we are also trying to do there is to be able to analyze this holistically and have a broader picture of what the infrastructure stock is in the country. We also plan to extend it to the point where we have pages for each infrastructure. Let me show you an example of that. And that can be searched. Like, for example, electricity, you can zoom into that sector and you find infrastructures that have been delivered in that sector, and you can actually go there and make comments and upload live data on that on the state of that infrastructure based on KPIs that we have also provided. So, for example, this one here is talking about capacity and quality, operation, maintenance, and things like that. So you can score it, and all this information can be put together to be used for future infrastructure reports. So that's an example of a power plant in Edo. Can you hear me? Am I still here, Claire? Yeah, thank you. All right, so that's an example of an infrastructure in Edo State. And everything about this infrastructure can actually, that is meant to be provided, allowed to be seen by the public, can be provided on this page. And the public can also come here and upload images and comments and things about whatever reviews that they have to make about this infrastructure. And the general idea is that
Thank you very much. Please, let's put our hands together for the presenters. Before we go to the next item in our program, quickly, let me acknowledge the presence of Engineer Adekunle Olumuyiwa Mokolu, FNSE, immediate past president of the Nigerian Site of Engineers. I can also see Engineer Felix Atume, FNSE, vice president of the Nigerian Site of Engineers and former registrar of Coren. Engineer George C. Okoroma, president of AKEN. You're welcome, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite the chairman of the next session, and that is the Family Forum, the president, chairman of council of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Coren, Engineer Ale Masuya Rabiu, fellow of the Nigerian Site of Engineers and fellow of the American Society of Civil Engineers. Can we put our hands together for Mr. President?
Thank you very much. Before we commence the Engineering Family Forum, I'd like to join in thanking the chairman of the NSC Infrastructural Scorecard for that presentation, and also for the good works they are doing in bringing out this report. But it's important to ask whether amongst us, the participants, one or two persons might want to make a comment on the infrastructural scorecard or ask one or two questions. I'm going to give only two chances. I can see one hand up. Your Excellency, Engineer Felix Atume. Any other? Apwen, you want to also make a remark? Okay, Felix Atume first.
Mr. President, let me thank you for this opportunity and also commend Engineer Olorunfemi for this wonderful job. Basically, my dear colleagues in the engineering profession, this report card was used by the American Society of Civil Engineers to seek support of the American Congress. They took this report card to the American Congress and said, this is the situation of infrastructure in our country. And it has become a tool by members of parliament in the US to seek support. Today they have infrastructure fund, a lot of money on infrastructure. So we should also use this report card to talk to our own assembly members at the state level, at the national level. The chairman of branches of Nigerian Society of Engineers and NICET, NATE can come together and say, look, in Oyo State, this is the situation of infrastructure, and this is what we can do to improve this infrastructure. Because sometimes when we talk, we don't talk with data. But this document by the report card of the Nigerian Society of Engineers has now become a tool that we can use to say, look, this is the way to go to improve our infrastructure. Thank you, Mr. President.
Apwen, the president of Apwen.
Thank you, my president, sir. Yeah, I'm particularly impressed that an app has been developed for this. So it puts it right in your hand. Immediately he mentioned it, I went there, NSC IRCs, and I downloaded the app. It's right here on my screen, and it's working very fine. So all the information you might ever need, you don't need to go to any library, you don't need to see the Coren registrar or president or anything for you to get the information that you require about the state of infrastructure in Nigeria. And like I said, this is data that is just useful for us. As engineers, I will encourage us to use it, because that is the thing that is going to drive the traction. That is what is going to drive people to actually listen to us. When they ask you and you just go to your phone and you bring it out and you tell them, this is the way we are now, this is where we want to go, this is where we were 2 years ago. He said the committee will be doing it every other year. So in 2 years' time, this thing is going to be updated, and it's just very, very impressive. I think we are going places, and I congratulate the chairman and the committee, and Coren also for putting this together.
Thank you, the President of APOIN. Now, we'll go to the main business of the day, which is the Engineering Family Forum. We are all aware that it has become part of our tradition at every assembly for us to bring together the leadership of the various associations and other important engineering stakeholders in the engineering family to a sort of also present their scorecards over the last 1 year or so, the period of reporting. And today, we are going to have the presidents of the associations under Coren and also the Association for Consulting Engineering in Nigeria to come forward and let the engineering family members know what they have been doing over the past 1 or 2 years. 2 years because there was no assembly last year. It will be my pleasure to invite to the stage the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, FNSC. Engineer Babagana Mohammed, please. Okay, I see the Deputy President walking to the stage to represent his President. He has been working closely with the President, so I believe he will represent him very well. You can take your seat. Appropriately. The President of NATI, Ahmed Mohamed Yabagi, who also doubles as the chairman of the main organizing committee for this assembly. The President of NAEC, Tanko Gyang. I deliberately jumped NICED because I want to report to the Assembly the progress that we have made in, in resolving the crisis that had bedeviled that association. You will recall that in the last assembly, NICED was not represented because there was a division in the House. So Korean Council set up a committee to look into the matter, even when we had so many court cases here and there by the different factions. And that committee, which was headed by Engineer Adekunle Olumuyiwa Mokolu, did a very good job and made recommendations to Council on which of the factions to recognize. And the Council took the report of the committee and approved that one of them, which the committee felt had a valid AGM to do the election, was the faction that council should recognize. Council went ahead, after they withdrew their matter in the court, to recognize, I don't want to use the faction, but permit me to use it because I don't know what other word to replace. The faction headed by Oloruntola Motiu Oluwatosin, who today is sitting as the president of NICET. So you are welcome. Come over. May I also invite the president of ACEN, very distinguished engineer, George Chukwulewa Okoroma, FNSC. I said yesterday that looking forward, we intend to also bring our elders in the profession. That's the Academy of Engineering. Fortunately, we have many of them here, many of the fellows here. Engineer Jani Ibrahim, Engineer Kashim Abdul Ali, and we have Engineer F.A. Shonubi too here, and other fellows of the Academy, who I believe would work out the modalities for their appearance at this forum, perhaps in the next assembly. So that's going forward. Now the family forum will start. I'd like to invite the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers to come forward and present a report.
Mr. President, I would like to start on existing protocols. I am standing in for the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, who we are expecting to be here later today, but he has to attend to some other official assignments. The Nigerian Society of Engineers, as you all know, is the umbrella body of all Nigerian engineers in Nigeria. And according to our objectives, we are to protect the interest of our members and advise government on policies and issues concerning engineering. And we have been doing that to the extent that today you had a presentation on our quest to ensure that the infrastructure in this country is adequate and up to standard, that we are even appraising the infrastructure in this country through the app that has just been presented. Let me reiterate that the app is sponsored by the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and in collaboration with Coren, we're doing that. We started this in 2015. We have done the first one in 2015, the second one in 2017. Unfortunately, we was expected to have produced one in 2019. We couldn't do that. Luckily, the president that started it is now the chairman of the committee. And it has been his idea, just like His Excellency said, it is picked from the American Institution of Civil Engineers. And we felt that it is a veritable tool for us to be able to approach governments and advocate for infrastructural development in this country. And as you know, we'll continue to engage government on that. In our quest to make sure that our members perform very well in their field, we found out that as engineers, we cannot perform alone. The technologists and other cadres are very, very important to us in achieving whatever we want to achieve. So we came up with the idea of advocate on TVET. If you could remember, during the inauguration, the investiture of our 32nd president, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, the topic was technical vocational education. And we are pursuing that. Very soon we are going to have a summit on technical and vocational education. We have realized that our jobs are not possible without very good technical and vocational education, well-trained personnel. So we are advocating on that. You will all agree with me, the presentation yesterday has shown it, and in many fora, people are moving right from technician up to the engineer, and we have more engineers in the formal sector. From our records in Coren here, it has shown that we have more engineers than technologists than the rest. In fact, we have inverted pyramid now. So we are trying to reverse that. We are advocating because our job cannot go without good. You can do the best design you can, but if you don't have well-trained and experienced technicians and technologists to implement them, you have produced nothing. So we are also advocating on that. I would like to also inform you that the society is growing. There are so many divisions, specializations in NSE, and we are encouraging these bodies to be more professional in the sense that we want to have our own codes and standards. We are happy that Coren has a standing committee on codes and standards, as we already have in NSE. And the two committees are working together to make sure that we have local codes. Local codes does not mean they are going to be local. There are so many things that we cannot do in this country, we import. However, if we say in this country, this is the code we are going to have, this is the standard for this, and should be followed. And our members are encouraged to imbibe those codes and standards. So very soon, the Nigerian Society of Engineers has set aside a certain amount of money, which all our council members are aware, for us to develop local codes by our divisions. So we are working, we are happy to work with Coren on that, and very soon, as Coren said, codes will be presented in the next assembly. We will also work with other government bodies like Standard Organization of Nigeria and many other bodies like NEC in the power sector to come up with the such standards. I think I will stop here, Mr. President. I think questions will be asked and I will be able to respond to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next will be the president of NATI, Ahmed Mohamed Yabagi. You speak for 10 minutes. Questions, if you have questions or comments on the presentations and general, please please put them on paper. And as is usual with our style, we are not going to be the only ones to respond to your questions. We have very senior engineers, technologists, technicians, and craftsmen here seated. And we would also like to draw from the benefit of their own experiences and knowledge. So we'll appoint some of them to come over to speak to or respond to your questions and comments. Thank you. Yabagi, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Please, distinguished colleagues, permit me to stand on the already established protocol. The Nigerian Association of Technologists in Engineering, in the past 2 years, minus last year, have been working assiduously with the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria in some of the items the NSC president, deputy president, has enumerated, like in the development of course and standards. I'm a member of that committee and be working seriously to see how we can get the standards and codes of practice in Nigeria. Sometimes last year, immediately after the lockdown, I was invited by the Lagos branch of the association to come and commission 2 machines that were developed by the Lagos branch in collaboration with FIRO. We have already submitted the prototypes and other documents to the Ministry of Science and Technology, now and Innovation. It is part of our contribution that necessitated even the change of the name to be Science and Technology and Innovation. The last year up to the beginning of this year, the association was looking forward for the welfare of its members, particularly in the workplace, civil service in particular. All of us here know that technologies, when they rise up to level 14, they say they can't rise again. And that is demoralizing. And that's why we are not able to develop this country technologically up to this moment. We made so many presentations to government. We are not equating ourselves with the engineers. It is not possible. Our training is not the same. Me and you know. But why is it that you don't want me to progress? When we go into the polytechnics, or you go into the university, you must have math and English. 5 credits. That is what you need to have to go into polytechnic. The same thing you need for the university. When you graduate from the polytechnic, say you are a technologist. If it's from the university, you are an engineer. So let us go. Let everybody take his part. But when we get somewhere as technology, they say don't go again. And that is what we have been fighting for the past 40 years. Coren, in his wisdom, during the immediate past president of the Coren, Engineer Kashim Ali, sent a paper to the office of the head of service requesting them or informing them that these are different careers and they are free to progress on their own and each person's career. But till today, the paper is still hanging and nothing is being done to it. But thank God, the 9th Senate, they made necessary that we should visit that issue. They organized a public hearing of which so many of us attended. It has passed the first and the second reading, and the third as well. The paper is before the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for assent. Even it is signed, people misinterpret that we're going to be at PAL. Yes. Engineer, up to the permanent secretary level. Technologists move into the permanent secretary level. Craftsmen, technicians, you can move in your career just as it is in the medical sector. In the ministry, we have director of midwifery, director of nursing. So why can't we have the same thing in the engineering field? You can say you're a director actually when you're a technologist, but your take-home pay is equivalent to that of the engineer that is in that position. They will not call you engineer, but a technologist on grade level 17. And that is what we have been fighting. And I want to crave your indulgence to help us pray so that the president will assent to this bill so that it will be implemented. Recently, we heard that some people, when they want to get promotion to grade level 15 or 16 rather, they have to bring them down. You say yes. Everybody wants to be called an engineer in this country. Why? Because the take-home pay, the other cadres are being shortchanged. Even though they are the best, even in their working places. I want to also react to what the NSC president said, although I'm not here to react, but maybe to emphasize more. He said the pyramid is inverted. I don't always believe when they say pyramid is inverted. It's not. If you go to any construction site here now, even in Abuja, there is only one engineer that is supervising them. Under him, you have the technologist, you have the craftsmen, you have the welders, you have the fitter machinist, you have all these civil engineer, help me. What do you call these people that tie?
Iron benders.
Iron benders, thank you very much. And they are all under that engineer. The only thing that is happening to all other cadres, you don't go and register to practice in Nigeria. Only engineers rush to Coren to go and register. we other cadres are not registering. The last Coren
Thank you, Yabagi.
Council, only out of 15,000 engineers that registered, only 300 registered from NATE.
You have 1 minute to go.
That is not acceptable. So we should stop comparing ourselves with the engineers if we cannot go out to go and register in Coren. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, President Yabagi. But I want to say that part of what you have said is an indictment on the leadership of NATE, because you are supposed to do mobilization of your members to register to practice. You do not expect the NSC to mobilize NATE members for registration. And I would also like to extend this to the other cadres, NICET and NAEC, before you speak. And whether the pyramid is inverted or not, what the NSC president said was the formal sector. Formally, the pyramid is inverted. But informally, it may not be inverted, like you try to point out.
Engineering Assembly. NICET has been absent in the family activities for some years now. My special thanks go to God and the President of Coren, the Registrar of Coren, all council members for the love and interest to bring back NICET into the engineering family. We can't thank you enough. The President of Coren promised this family at the 28th Assembly of Coren, August 2019, to bring back NICET to the engineering family. Today, I thank God Almighty for this honor. The election that brought me into this office was tagged Revamping the Nigeria Society of Engineering Technicians. The major issues in all the paper presented as at yesterday was to revamp the technical education to enable us to produce active and competent engineering personnel. My major responsibility is to work together with other association presidents and members in achieving same. NICET registration portal will be open to members on or before ending October this year. All the existing branches of NICET will commence operation immediately. NICET website is active and all necessary information will be updated from time to time. Thank you, the President of Coren. Thank you, the Registrar of Coren. Thank you, all engineering family here present. My special thanks go to Engineer Professor Salau, the past Registrar of Coren, who registered NICET for his effort and activities, and for his effort and all activities to bring back NICET into the engineering family. Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Muchu, for your appreciation statement. Last born, before you go, let me warn you that you have only 10 minutes. If you exceed 10 minutes, I will get them to switch off the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the warning. I accept it in good faith, and I want to also support you that the pyramid is inverted. You will permit me, out of my 10 minutes, I want to know who is going to switch it so that we can talk together. When Nate was talking, they were saying, Nate president, did he stop? If I do like that, it's not my fault, but I will not do it. I would want to recognize the past presidents of NAEC. Every engineering assembly, they always forget them, and I always remember them. I will want to recognize the presence of Honorable Sikiru. Is there. MC, next time we have past presidents, you can come, there are seats there. I'm using my power through this 10 minutes for you to go there. Yahaya Yakubu, you can come forward, there are extra seats. I was there, sit on where I was sitting. Victor Arima, they are the 3 past presidents of my association, in case you don't know. Thank you. Mr. President, sir, I observe all protocol. And you heard him say last born. And I'm sure everybody here has tradition. And if you are a last born in the family, you are supposed to enjoy everything that is here on earth. And if you are not enjoying, then it's the fault of probably the firstborn, the second, the third, the fourth. So thank you very much, Mr. President, for telling the whole congregation that we are last born. But today, we want to tell you what the last born is facing, so that the elder brothers will know and have solution to our problems. And I'm sure we are going to have it today. I will want to start by appreciating Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria for giving us this opportunity. And I want to thank the President with the Registrar and all Council members for giving us maximum support, more especially in terms of our registration, assisting us in doing other functions that we are incapacitated to do it due to funds, of which all of you knows that if last born is not working and the senior is working, you are supposed to sponsor him in his education. And we want to tell you that Coren have really been assisting us, and I'm sure that by next year, my report is going to be very different, and all other associations will learn from us. Like you heard the President said, and also the Registrar, we are working towards, we saw CODET and other polytechnic association of deans. We want to also form the association of technical school principals, and we also want to start competition of technical schools so that when they are introducing, we too can bring some brilliant students to encourage them in innovation. So we want to appreciate Coren, more especially because they have taken it upon themselves. We have collected all the lists of technical schools. We have them in Nigeria, and Coren is going to assist us to have a program with all of them, and Coren is going to sponsor it, and that is the beginning of progress. Because we want to know, anyone entering a technical school, we should be able to have his data and monitor up to graduation. That we say, we appreciate it very well. We also want to appreciate NSC in your presence, that NSC have really been assisting us in registration. They have been sponsoring some of our programs, and we want to say we appreciate you so much, more especially the serving president, Engineer Baba Gana Mohammed. And we started with the immediate past president, Engineer Mokulu. He has been very helpful, and we are even planning to give him fellow of NAEC this year in our conference. So that when he says FNSC, he will say FNAEC, which is complete. NAEC, we have been trying our best, but our best is not enough. We have workmen that are not registered, but we have few that are registered. And you know, of course, if you have a last-born, last-borns are always stubborn and troublesome. But it will take the patience and the nursing and nurturing of the elder ones to make him have good position. And on that note, we have tried and met ITF in their training system of artisans. We have been able to collaborate with them. Each of their graduation, we go to assess. We have assessed all their equipments, and we are involved in the training. And at the end of the day, we certify them as craftsmen. We have also worked through NSC with artisans of building association, and we've been able to induct a lot of them. But of course, we know that 90% of us seated, either an engineer or a technologist or technician, when you have problems with your cars, even with your domestic appliances, you normally call either an electrician, or you call a mason, or you go to a mechanic. Even when you are a mechanical engineer, you will have to go to a craftsman to repair your vehicle. If not, a lot of you, your vehicles will never move.
10 minutes.
So we want to appeal to all of us. I don't have any dichotomy with anybody because I'm not competing with anybody. But I have dichotomy with all of you in the sense, not to government, but between me and you. And it's a cry. A cry in the sense that every craftsman is reporting to either a technician or a technologist or an engineer. We want to plead to all of you, and we want to see a difference between now and the next engineering conference, that some of our members are being oppressed, either in the office, by not giving them promotion when due, by not encouraging them, by not taking them along. We want to beg you. When last-born is saying, first-born, I beg, how you will look at it. On behalf of all those working in industries and government parastatals, we want to say, take each and every one of the craftsmen. If really you want to accept my plea, take him as your child. Train him and give him all the promotions he deserves. Make sure he grows in that association. And those that are not registered, I want to, if the president permits me, I will give you my telephone number. If you have 20, 30 artisans in your place that have worked for so many years and they're not registered, please, you can call me or the chairman of the state. I want to tell you that anyone that calls between now and the next engineering assembly, I will go there and give them presidential registration so that the pyramid can improve and start coming back to where it is supposed to come. That is my appeal.
1 minute, please.
Yes, 1 minute. Thank you very much. It's 1 minute, and I don't want to be disobedient. Next AGM, please do what we have just said in less than 10 minutes, and I'm going to sit down. By next AGM, I will hear a lot of calls that, please, we have so number of people. I will go there myself and give them presidential registration. My telephone number is 08023202539. Just call the president. You will see me there, and all will be well by the grace of God. So much.
Thank you very much, last-born. At least you stuck to time today. And thank God that the crowd was not also urging you to go ahead. President, you have the floor. Aken, they say you have 5 minutes.
5 minutes, sir. The President and Chairman of this occasion, President of NSC, NATE, NICET, and NICE, past presidents of Coren and NSC, past president of, as a past president, and also the past president of FIDIC Africa. Aken, unlike other members of the family, admit practitioners, but we admit firms. That makes a difference. Aken membership is on, it's on firms, and our membership in the last 1 year had improved greatly. Aken has 4 circles of registration annually. And the membership comes 2 weeks before Coren Council. And so what we do is that firms who want to register with Aken should submit their applications on before 2 or 3 months before Coren Council, so that we can process the application before it will be taken to Coren Council. From February 2020, when I took over as the president of Aken, we in no way were deterred by COVID-19. All our programs were well executed. How? Because before this time, we had had a feel of ensuring that we have a website, a robust website that had been very, very great. And that website has helped us to ensure that all our programs were carried out online. So all our business evenings, our EGMs and AGMs were all well attended. Our membership trend is today 492 members, and those who are active today is about 280. And of course, the reasons are obvious, that we are going through a difficult time because of the lockdown and all that. Businesses have been very, very down. We are hoping that that number will improve. I can continue to maintain advocacy, especially in the area of training. With this, yesterday we talked about continued professional development, and Aken is at the forefront of this. And we have the School of Engineering, which will ensure that training are delivered to our members. That we have been carried out very effectively. We also have our business evenings, which is also one of the forums where we also rub minds on engineering, technical issues. That also has been carried out very successfully. And one of the advocacy is we have a magazine called The Construction Engineer. This magazine has been very, very well circulated in the engineering family, and even in the industry, even in the ministries and Department of Government. We publish 3 copies every year, and this year we have completed 2 copies of our magazine, and the last one will be published very soon. And if you go to our website, which is a very robust website that is almost at the same level with that of international organizations, you see our publications, and all our activities is on our website. Aken will be celebrating her 50th anniversary this year. Aken was officially registered in 1971, and this year marks us the 50th year of our existence. We have set up a committee on this, and the engineering family will be informed at the due time when we will have that celebration. And we have had our EGM this year in Port Harcourt,
It was in person, and it was well attended, and it was a very wonderful occasion. Our AGM is coming up on the 2nd of November this year, and you are invited to be part of that program. At the International Forum of Scene, ACEN belongs to FIDIC Africa and also to FIDIC International, or what we call Federation Engineer de Conseil, that's the Federation of Consultant Engineers. And we have maintained membership effectively. We are up to date with FIDIC International. We are also with FIDIC Africa. And we are well represented in FIDIC Africa because we have a member of ACEN as a member of the executive committee of FIDIC Africa. The president of the Association of Consultant Engineers in Nigeria is an ESCOM member and is the honorary treasurer of FIDIC Africa. ACEN has ensured that her members are well exposed in the practice. And just like I've said earlier, that engineering is about continuing professional development. Yesterday, I received a mail from ACEN that cataloged all the scores of all the firms who are participating in all activities from January to date. And we have our scores, which I am advocating that in course of the Coren implementing the CPD program, that the ACEN model will be used particularly for the firms, because a question came yesterday about how to encourage firms to ensure that their staffs are trained. And so on the side of ACEN, we ensure that any firm that is a member, the number of persons you send in for training gives you the number of CPD points for that very firm. And so on this note, I want to say that I want to thank the president because shortly before I came in, ACEN used to have a seat that was considered by NSC. And I want to use the opportunity to really thank the Nigerian School of Engineers for considering a seat to ACEN prior to this time, before the new act, which has given us a permanent seat now. And with the new seat, ACEN is assuring Coren that we make our contribution to ensure that there's growth in the practice of engineering in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All the presidents have spoken. We are expecting your comments and questions. None has come yet. But we have a spillover of questions from yesterday. Some of them were not related to the issues at stake yesterday, so we carried them over to today. Before we take the questions, or before the questions start coming and comments, let me say that Coren, as a responsible guardian, I thought that the presidents were going to report that, but they did not, so let me report it. We've been doing our best as a responsible guardian to cater for the welfare of our associations. To buttress that, not too long ago, we realized that the vehicles, official vehicles being used by the presidents of NATE and NAEC were a bit on the old side. And we replaced the Hilux. We bought brand new Hiluxes for them, which we gave them at the last council. Now that NICET has rejoined the family, we are going to make effort to make its own presentation to it before September Council, inshallah. And NSC is a big brother. So we gave them something a bit less. The president of the NSC is packing into his new office, And we realized that he needed to be assisted to furnish the office. And so Coren provided a very big scanner and a very big printer for NSE. That will be presented at this forum before we leave. So these are some of the efforts we've made to ensure that our associations provide the needed welfare for their members through our little assistance. So I think Coren deserves a huge round of applause from the participants. Thank you very much. From the questions of yesterday, one is, I think Engineer Okoroma will take this. It had to do with the CPD. It says, how is Coren helping to ensure that among young engineers, knowing that a lot of engineers are not actively involved in politics and making of laws to enforce engineering practitioners' fate and future, unlike other professionals in justice and health. Engineering regulations are made by non-engineers. I don't think this is correct. Engineering positions are not held by non-engineers. Commissioner or Minister of Works is not an engineering position. The engineering position in Ministry of Works, for instance, is the Director of Engineering Services or Director of Federal Highways, and it's never held by a non-engineer. We have always advised at any given engineering forum that engineers should go into politics. Engineers should go into politics. We cannot sit, fold our arms, and continue to have this sense of entitlement, to think, and when you are folding your arms, sitting in the comfort of your house, in your comfort zone, and when it is time to share the spoils of war, you come and say that you are an engineer, give me this. So personally, I don't believe that any engineering position has been taken by a non-engineer. The engineering regulations are made by Coren. There is no non-engineering practitioner in the Coren Council. They are made by Coren Council. And the new Coren Act has made it such that any regulation made by Coren is, as is. That means it has a force of law. It does no longer go to the Minister of Works for signature. The President of, and yeah, it's there, the first question. How do you address the remuneration of the craftsmen in Nigeria? Last born, take that one. How do you take care of a situation? Sometimes you find engineers doing jobs that are non-engineering to survive. Oh, so engineers do non-engineering jobs too.